introduce this fine young gentleman. I have not met. I've talked to him on the phone a number of times, and you can tell when you're talking to him that he's a great guy. And when he showed interest in our club and to come and tell his story, I relayed the message on to Nancy Boyce, our programs director, and they put the two together, and here he is tonight. So his name is Brandon, and Brandon is an entrepreneur, mental health advocate, author, and keynote speaker on mental health. Brandon was born and raised in Whatcom County. Brandon has lived in Southern California, successfully after returning to Bellingham to attend Western Washington University and come back to success. Brandon loves to play soccer at the Sportsplex. Please join me in welcoming Brandon Burbank.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. And thank you so much, everybody, in the Lynden Lions Club for this wonderful time to be here. And I feel so welcomed here. So let's get started then. That being said, so the world is going the wrong direction. Here's why. So think about that for a moment. Now, the topic is on mental health and the importance of why concepts around mental health are so vital for our society to continue to thrive and find more success in our journeys. Therefore, what is the list of things you need to make a comeback to success? I've formulated a list of 4 components that will help give you more insight in your life so that you can become more engaged in how to make a comeback to success when faced with mental health struggles. A lot of us out there are struggling with mental health, so starting with step 1, develop self-awareness. Step 2, confide in someone you trust. Step 3, take charge of your life. Step 4, accept change. These are all vital components, and there's going to be a bonus component that I'll add at the end. Starting with step 1, develop self-awareness. But before I do that, I wanted to introduce a statistic out there that's really vital for you all to understand and really to get the gist of what I'm saying when how mental health and mental illness is so vital in our world today. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, over 50 million Americans are living with a mental illness. That's a significant number if you think about it in terms of our population we're spanning over 300 million currently right now. So definitely with that, I wanted to talk about developing self-awareness and why developing self-awareness is so important to help that target demographic and what I continue to do persistently to change the lives of people that have been impacted by mental health condition or mental illness. So with that being said, developing self-awareness, relying on your gut instincts are so pivotal for successful living life. So your gut instincts, that's like your trigger, things that make you feel like what inspires you, what motivates you, what inspires you to change your life, change your trajectory in yourself for the better. I've come through some hard journeys in my past, and so I've been able to regroup myself and revitalize myself through a lot of effort and persistence and tangible knowledge that I've successfully applied in my life. But before I go too far with that, I wanted to stick to the script here with when you know something is not right and you make a swift change to combat this, you can be more mindful about how to get back into action and balance your life. So self-awareness in general means finding different situations and just finding what works best for you. Everybody has different ways of how they approach their journeys, their struggles, their trials and tribulations in life. Nobody is immune to it. I mean, with that being said, like how have we become better, well-rounded individuals? It comes from our trials and tribulations and how we bounce back from our journeys, from our struggles, from our triumphants, persistence towards our commitment towards ourselves and towards our posterity. So I also want to introduce a topic on developing self-awareness, and that is with self-esteem. So self-esteem coincides well with the fact that you have a lot of, when your self-esteem is strong, for example, you can become more vital, more successful in any different type of field that you essentially put yourself into in your life. I speak from experience because of the fact that when I have a strong self-esteem and strong sense of confidence, I can write a book, I can create YouTube content. I can, run consistently and be healthy and be happy like I was born to be. Those are the types of things that, a lot of people can relate to, because just in general, we have choices that we make in life, and what we choose to do based upon our final, end of our road is based upon our trajectory of how we impact ourselves and impact the lives around us. Are you finding enough time and space to create reflection on your life that helps you pursue your purpose? So when you find enough time for reflection and you give yourself that time to say, hey, here's what I'm going through, or here's what's going on in my life, and here's how I'm changing my life for the better and inspiring myself to recognize my flaws and recognize that this is just a part of me, whatever I might be going through mentally or with my mental health challenges, and I can become a better, well-rounded individual. That's important. So with self-awareness, it's so vital because it's like a compass that can help guide you to your purpose and plans, resulting in your dreams becoming a reality. Now, I'm going to talk about the second step. Confide in someone you trust. When you confide in someone you trust, it's definitely important because, there needs to be an essential amount of trust developed with that person that you're confiding with when you're talking about your emotions openly and your struggles, your challenges. These are things that we, we kind of just let it slip aside and don't talk about it openly towards the right people. But when I emphasize this, I'm talking about how when you confide with the right person, whether it be a parent, a doctor, a mental health professional, a mentor, a coach, these are the types of people that can help give you more clarity in your life and help you bounce back from any type of mental health struggle and journey. You're not alone, so don't feel like that you're alone in this journey, because you have so much to be grateful for and you have so much to offer to the world. When I didn't have anyone, I resorted to music and exercise. This is an effective way for me to continue to stay focused on my dreams and goals when I felt like I didn't have anybody to relate to, when I feel like I didn't have anybody to confide with at times in my life, and feeling misunderstood or confused. And my condition, being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, is something that has been prevalent in my life, and how I've been able to bounce back so many different times. I like to put it this way: a comeback to success in journey. So asking for advice and opening up from the right person can make all the difference. So think about that. Just because of the fact that when you ask for advice and asking for help, it changes the trajectory of your life. It changes the outcome of your life, and it can change the outcome for your future. And that's why I think it's important to be, that's on another talk, but self-advocacy, and how important that it is to be a self-advocate for yourself and to change your life for the better. Step 3, take charge of your life. So when you take charge of your life, you allow yourself to recognize, well, the big word is accountability. So I speak firmly with that, because when you're accountable for your actions, there's nothing getting in your way besides yourself. And being candidly honest about how accountability is built from within yourself, within your heart, within your grit, and your ability to change your life for the better and inspire yourself. You see other people out there that are inspired, and you might be jealous, or you might be upset, or you might be misunderstood and confused. Why am I not making progress with my mental health journey, or why am I not making success? But accountability, it changes your life, because you can flip that around, flip the script, and stop blaming other people for your problems and start blaming yourself and telling yourself, okay, here's where I'm at. I might be 22 years old in my life, or I might be 16 years old, and how do I focus on changing my trajectory and my journey? Those are the types of things that are. That's why with these steps that I've outlined can help change and outline your life for the better. Taking charge of your life means taking full responsibility for your life. Accountability for your life and everything involved is a great way to pause and reflect where you are at. So when you pause and reflect, once again, pausing and reflecting gives yourself the ability to just stop and smell the roses and see how life is always going. There's always going to be opportunities that will be out there, but if we just stop and pause and recognize whether we have a problem mentally or mental health challenge, and if we face them head on with an accountable, open, honest heart and mindset, we can change our trajectory for our lives for the better. Accountability for your life and everything involved is a great way to pause and reflect. So, and then I also want to talk about the care plan, which is a self-care plan. I learned this when I was going to Skyline Trail in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a mental health treatment program that helps people with mental health challenges. And so I talk about this because what self-care plan, what it does is it's like a blueprint, and it outlines more perspective for you so that you can change your outlook of yourself and see what you need to do to follow a blueprint that's going to help change your life. Changing your life can be hard. Trust me, like everybody out there that has been a success story, they've put in reps, they've put in years of work, of effort. You know, a bodybuilder is going to be in the gym for a long time. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, just for example, like in the times that he's had to build his muscle up and for movies and things like that. But I'm just bringing this up because of the fact that a self-care plan gives you a blueprint, and then the blueprint is essential for you to give yourself a more sustainable approach for living your life freely and openly for yourself, for your purpose, so that you can drive towards success and feel the momentum that you were born to have, that you can obtain, that you can create. But it's not just going to be given. You're going to have to give more than you can expect to obtain at the short term of things. But then the positive thing is that on the long term, which is what I've seen because I've been at this for so long, is that things are starting to roll forward in my favor again, because of the fact that I've been persistent and focused on being a positive influence and an impactor in this world, especially with the niche market mental health. Step 4, accept change. Accepting change is hard. Accepting change is part of life, though. So there's a lot of things that I want to change in my life, but it's like, how do you focus on that? One step at a time. And not every day is going to be the best day. Like, there's been challenges in my recoveries and relapses in my personal journeys that have impacted my story, that that challenged me, and that it forced me to get out of my shell and stop living life in a certain way and changing my habits and my thought habits as well, to help infuse a positive mindset that's fortified on self-love and respect and understanding and kindness. So changes inspires other people around to focus on the realities of life and work on embracing positive outcomes more than the negative outcomes. Once again, it's simple. Like, in terms of becoming a different successful person who's had different challenges with mental health, if you can start training your mindset to think about positive things about yourself, give yourself more positive affirmations. That's just an example, one example to think about. Positive affirmations and what they can do to help give you more and lift your mood up when you feel down. Because like I was telling some folks on here earlier, you make yourself happy. I can't make you happy. You can make yourself happy though, and how you focus on your happiness is going to be entirely dependent upon your ability to think of positive thoughts about yourself and about your situation and your circumstances. So, and then I also talk about chapter 5, and from my book, Come Back to Success. It's the writing on the walls, a collection of details, a collection of interviews detailing mental illness diagnoses and experiences. The first question I asked was to a licensed mental health counselor. So this is just a quick gist of scripts from different interviews I did with mental health professionals. How can counseling have an impact on patients with a mental illness? Ultimately, at the root of every condition, you can develop a strength and unique perspective to practice resilience. The ultimate goal of counseling is to develop insight that allows one to ultimately treat oneself with all the necessary treatment resources available. So if you're struggling right now and you're recognizing, how you can change your life for the better, asking for help, self-advocacy, using your resources, because folks, there's tons of resources that are available out there, and how you focus on approaching these resources, it's simple. It's having the right attitude, having the right mindset to think about what's going to positively impact your life for the better and change yourself for the better. Like if you go into it and like you're like, I don't know, I don't want your help, but it's like, no, you have to think about it as this is something that's going to save my life, it's going to change my life, and I'm focusing on it like there's no tomorrow. Like that's the type of mentality that I've had to go through, to create, and to build upon when I've gone through different hospitalizations, mental health struggles, and different experiences in life that has really tested me in my journey. Who is the best support system that can help improve the lives of the adolescent with a mental health diagnosis or imbalance? Their response was, family is the greatest source of support. For a family, recommending psychoeducation, family support, family systems therapy, and community support. So this leads us to the next interview with Dr. Gregory Jantz, PhD, founder of the Center Place of Hope in Edmonds, Washington. Dr. Jantz's educational background includes doctorate in counseling and psychology. Now, what are the struggles that the world is facing right now related to mental health? Dr. Jantz's response was, due to the pandemic, depression and anxiety. The World Health Organization says that depression is a worldwide problem. So I think that's really powerful, because when you think about it, like as I mentioned earlier tonight with the statistic, how there's 50 million Americans that are living with a mental illness, and how their approach is definitely important to really, how are we approaching that target demographic to help provide them with opportunities so that they can help themselves. Because I don't think that, I'm not the type of person that wants to be giving people freebies in terms of life. That's just not who I am, that's not how I was raised, and I've built upon a positive work ethic of values. And then for those that are trying to come back to success, what advice can you give to someone who is faced with a mental illness or health condition? Dr. Jantz's response was, recovery is always possible, and with all of our pain comes great opportunity to change other people's life. So that's totally true. I speak from that because I embody that in terms of my journey, like being diagnosed with bipolar disorder at the age of 19, and how I've been able to turn my lemons into lemonade, and turning my struggles into my biggest successes, and my struggles, and I wrote a book out of them, and was able to, being on stage and talking to different audiences around the West Coast around mental health. It's just, that's what is so valuable, to help give you clarity, give you perspective, give you understanding, so that you might not understand fully who I am, but at least you might be able to understand that some of the things that I've done in my past to help inspire people and make a change for other people's lives is beneficial, and has been beneficial, and will continue to be. On another note, after interviewing Zach Garner, licensed professional counselor at Skyline Trail, he made a great point about inclusivity for society to destigmatize mental health. So as we look forward into the future, how can we as a community learn to grow and create more acceptance of others with a mental health diagnosis? This is a great question, with many possible answers depending on whom you ask, Zach says. I maintain that building awareness through education and training is going to be the best way to increase people's knowledge of mental health. That's it right there. She spoke more, but that's it. Like, the training and education is going to be the baseline for people to start changing their lives and then improving our communities so that we can become more open to and receptive towards other people's experiences. And then also I was attending a NAMI talk through NAMI Whatcom County recently, and they were talking about how having a conversation about mental health, that is something that is so, it's stigmatized. And so, yes, there's a lot of, reasons behind that, but it's like, how do we focus on being change oriented and focus on being, progressive in a lot of ways? That's going to be a lot of ways to be successful. Now, in conclusion, wrapping up this, I'm going to talk about my chapters 8 and 9 in my book. 8 is Passion Pathfinding Retail to Motivational Speaking. I speak upon this chapter because it talks about my journey of my occupations, listing from sacrificing work, living paycheck to paycheck in Southern California, and working a lot of different jobs that was challenged me. It tested me. It gave me mental fortitude. It gave me more confidence. It built my self-esteem. And these are the types of things that people have to do in order to reap the rewards of success. Like, you look at success stories out there, people didn't have an easy job, an easy path. Neither did I. Chapter 9, in wrapping. And so this is in an umbrella. The last topic I'm talking and referencing to is patience. I know I talked about these two chapters in chapter 8 and 9 because patience really gives you more. It's called this patience for things to come to fruition in your life. That's going to be the final bonus thing that I was telling you about. So what do you need to do right now to take action for your life? What is the list of things you need to do to make a comeback to success? I'll summarize them again. Step 1, develop self-awareness. Step 2, confide in someone you trust. Step 3, take charge of your life. Step 4, accept change. And step 5, be patient for changes to come to fruition in your life. I found that God has helped me in times of trouble and need when I felt like there was nobody around to pick me up. Lastly, believe in yourself. Go get it, go do it. Thank you. Yes, let's open up for Q&A. Anybody have any questions?
Brandon, do you feel you shared the lowest part, your lowest point in life?
My lowest part of my life was probably related to my faith, because if I didn't have, when I lost my faith from God, I feel like I fell off the bandwagon, and my behaviors were really erratic and just focusing on just going down the wrong path and not feeling fulfilled, and a lack of not with a sense of purpose in life, and I had a sense of direction. So that would be my answer.
Tell us about your book.
Yes, so my book, Come Back to Success, was published in 2021, and it really focuses on my story and how I was going through a lot of struggles with mental health. It talks about outlining a lot of perspective on mental health awareness. It has a lot of perspective from other mental health professionals, as well as including people who are living with a mental illness as well. So the whole goal is to help provide maximum value to the mental health community in America to start with, and then moving on to global opportunities as things progress.
Thank you, Brandon.
What led you to be diagnosed with the bipolar? Because you probably had that for how long, but didn't realize what was going on, right?
Yeah, so what led me to the diagnosis was a depression, and a deep depression that it turned into a manic episode. And so then that led to a diagnosis in the hospital, and that was just a transformative experience, because I was in questioning about it, and it was in the way I was raised about mental health, it was it was something that was different to not something that I rejected it for a long period of time of my life, and so that's why I've had to come to the senses of the word radical acceptance that comes to mind, because radical acceptance means you radically accepting your reality and your circumstances in your life, including your diagnosis and the things that occur in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon. And Brandon will be around for a little bit if you want to talk to him about his book. Brandon, how much is your book? $20 a copy, and it's his personal story. And so you'll be able to talk to Brandon. And Brandon, by all means, while the food is still out, since you haven't eaten, get a bite to eat before they clean it up. Yes, by all means.
More than welcome, son.
And then I'd like to take a moment and